Hello and welcome to another episode of Big Dog Goes Metal Detecting. Today we're going to talk about the Minelab Pro Find 35. We're going to do a thorough review here, so let's get to it. But before we do, if you're new here, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. It's right down there. And while you're at it, hit the bell. That way you won't miss any future content. Thanks. Okay, so let's get on with it. But before we start, I want to set the record straight about something. I bought this pinpointer with my own money. No one sent it to me in exchange for a review. My opinions are my own. If you disagree or have something to add that I missed, please let me know in the comments down below. All right, enough of that. Let's get started. First, here are the general specifications. The Pro Find 35 retails for $129. The overall length is 9.3 inches or 237 millimeters. The diameter starts at 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters at its widest point and tapers down to 0.875 inches or 22 millimeters at the tip. It weighs in at 6.82 ounces or 193 grams. In addition to the standard target ID tone, the Pro Find 35 has a ferrous tone to identify iron. More on this later. It has 5 levels of sensitivity adjustment. The Pro Find is IP68 rated, meaning it is waterproof down to 10 feet or 3 meters. The audio signal is either on or off with no volume control. There is a vibration signal available either with or without the audio signal. It has a lost alarm. It uses a 9-volt battery for power. The battery life is said to be 30 hours when setting sensitivity to level 3. The Pro Find 35 comes with a holster or sheath and a wrist strap. When you receive your pinpointer, it comes in this box. Also in the box you will find a holster. More on that in a moment. And this wrist strap. Now let's talk about that for a moment. In the advertising and on the packaging, Minelab tells us we are getting a lanyard. What we get is a wrist strap. Now this may be a cultural or language difference between the US and Australia, but people are going to be confused and disappointed when they open their package. So Minelab, if you're watching, in the US this is a wrist strap and this is a lanyard. When you advertise that it comes with a lanyard, people think they're getting this, not this. Now let's talk about the good. First thing to know about this pinpointer is that it is sensitive, very sensitive, and that includes along the sides of the barrel. At its highest setting, it'll pick up a dime at over 2.5 inches on an air test. That's pretty good. In practice in the field, I find that it works best at the lowest sensitivity setting most of the time. Otherwise, you think you're close to the target only to find out that you have a lot more digging to do to get there. This scores a solid A. The sensitivity controls are excellent. This is probably the best thing about this pinpointer. Unlike most pinpointers, which have just one button to control everything, the Pro Find has 3. A power button, a plus and minus button for sensitivity. This makes it a piece of cake to move the level up and down. I find this very useful. I start out in the lowest setting, and if it doesn't pick up the target right away, I increase the level until I do. This gives me a really good indication of not only where the target is, but how much further digging to get there. This is an A+ for the controls. Another good point is that it's fully waterproof to 10 feet. This makes it a good choice for beach hunting and no worries in the rain. Another A score. An interesting feature is the ferrous tone. It will actually tell you that the target is iron. Let me show you. Okay. This is an iron screw. Now, it picks it up. This is at the lowest sensitivity setting, by the way. And as it gets closer, now you get the iron tone. Tells you that this is a hunk of iron in the ground. Pretty cool, huh? I'm going to hold off on scoring this until later, so hold this thought. It has an LED light. This is helpful for when you're hunting at dusk or at night. Again, hold this thought. I'll score this one in a few minutes. The vibration feature is also excellent. I use it with the sound, and when I need it to be quiet, without. A solid A for the vibration. It has a lost alarm for those times when you misplace it. It gets an A for that feature too. That's a lot of good stuff going on with this pinpointer, but let's keep going. Now it's time for the bad, or not so good as the case may be. The iron tone is not nearly as useful as you might think. The problem is that you need to get the pinpointer right on top of the target for it to work. By the time you get that close, you might as well finish digging it out. This feature is really more of a gimmick, to me at any rate, so it only gets a C+. The speaker is on the side opposite the power button. This is a minor annoyance because you end up covering it up when you turn it on. Consequently, you can't hear the signal telling you it's operational. Like I said, a minor annoyance. Of more consequence is the little holes that make up the speaker grill. These get filled with dirt fairly easily, which makes it really hard to hear as well. It's a good thing it has a vibrate feature, and this is one reason I leave that on all the time. Also, these holes are hard to clean out. This scores a C. Next gripe is the battery. A 9-volt battery? Really? This is so last century. Why not double A's, or better yet, a rechargeable lithium battery? 9-volt batteries are expensive and not always easy to find these days. I'm going to be nice. This one gets a C-. Then there's the holster that it comes with. The loop for the belt is so tight you can barely get any kind of reasonable width belt through it. I ended up trimming the stitching underneath on mine in order to get it on the belt. Why not put a snap on it to make it putting on your belt a whole lot easier? Holster score, C. Next, the overall shape and weight distribution is an issue. It does not have a gradual taper like most pinpointers out there. It has a very fat handle that sharply tapers down to the wand. The result of this combo is a pinpointer that won't fit in most holsters that are part of many finds pouches. It is very top-heavy, and in these built-in holsters only wrap around the wand. This makes it want to flip over and dump the pinpointer on the ground. If you're going to use the holster that comes with it, the only real option, you need to make sure you have a belt sturdy enough to hold it upright. Otherwise, it wants to do the same thing. Dump your pinpointer on the ground. You absolutely have to have a lanyard, a real lanyard, to make sure you don't lose it. This is more than just a little bit annoying. Also, the grip, as noted, is quite fat. Now, this is fine for me as I have large hands, but someone with small hands probably won't like it. The shape and physical design only rates a C-. Minelab should think about redesigning the shape of this unit in a future iteration. And lastly, the LED light. It's not very bright, which makes it less useful than it ought to be. Score C+. All right, we're not done yet. Now it's time for the downright ugly. There's only one item on this list, but it's a major pain in the you-know-what. The battery compartment is almost impossible to open. It's ridiculous. I get that the unit is supposed to be waterproof and the access needs to be watertight. But come on! You're going to need a pair of channel locks to get this thing unscrewed. Not kidding. Forget about changing the batteries in the field if you forgot to bring a pair along with you that day. Other people have recommended lubricating it to make it easier. I've tried graphite, silicone spray, and Vaseline. The Vaseline worked the best, but it's still tough as nails to open. The battery compartment access gets a failing grade of F. Come on, guys, you can do better than this. So now it's time for the report card. You can see that it's a mixed bag of scores on this one. While it gets high grades for functionality, it gets lower grades for ergonomics and form factor. So now it's time to reveal my final score. So in conclusion, this is a pinpointer that has a lot of potential, but unfortunately it's not quite there. Overall, I'm grading it a B-, which is really too bad because of all the really good positive things there are to talk about it. If it weren't for those ergonomic issues, it might have scored an A. It's a shame that the positives are outweighed by the annoyances and the negatives. Would I buy this one again? Probably, but only because I love those controls. I sure wish some of these other things were not an issue, though. When you consider the fistful of dollars that this pinpointer sets you back, it's a little bit of a disappointment. Maybe there's a better option out for just a few dollars more. But it would be hard to give up those great controls. If you have any suggestions as to what pinpointer I should look at and review next, please let me know in the comments below. I'm definitely open to suggestions. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you make your decision on this pinpointer, please take a moment and hit that like button and leave a comment. It really helps us out and we sure appreciate it. Thanks. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future metal detecting content. Thanks again, and until next time, happy hunting.